What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Brock Fitzgerald YouTube channel. In this video, we will be continuing the recent series I just started about rebuilding my very first bench vise. So as we go into the workshop here, I will show y'all. I went ahead and took the masking tape off the jaws here, and as you can see, it came out to be a pretty good finish, actually. And as you can see, we do have some paint over spray on certain parts of the vise, which can easily be removed with some sandpaper without the WD-40. Because if you use WD-40 on the newly painted surfaces, it'll mess it up. So the next step in rebuilding this vise is to work on the handle. And as you can see, the handle is a little bit on the rusty side. It's got some little rust and pits in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it in the vise. And I'm going to use the Dremel 8100 with the grinding attachment. And try to grind away as much of the rust as I can. Now keep in mind, this is a sympathetic restoration, as I mentioned in the previous episode of this series, so I'm not going to remove every piece of rust off of this component. It will still have some rust and still show signs of wear, which will also prove that it's worked in the past. Now I have actually tried to grind a little bit off just to see how difficult it will be, as you can see right there, and as you can see, it's coming off pretty good there. But we still got quite a ways to go yet. So without further ado, I'm going to clamp this in the vise and we're going to get to it. Alright, y'all, so now what I'm going to do, now I've got it clamped in the vise. And since I have it clamped in the vise now, I'm going to go ahead and start using the 8100 here to work away at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stand like this, and I'm just going to slowly move up as I go on it. So I'm just going to try to remove as much rust as I can. And as I mentioned before, I will be leaving a little bit of rust on there just to show that, you know, this vise has actually worked, because as I mentioned before, this is a sympathetic restoration. So we'll go ahead and get the sanding on this thing, and I'll show you all the results. Alright, so as y'all can see, we got part of the rust removed already. So now what I'm going to do is just rotate it in the vise until the rusty side, which is over here, points upwards, so that way I can work on that side. So I'm just going to basically flip this handle over, turn it 180 degrees, and then I'm going to start working on the other side. But as you can see, we are making pretty good progress on this handle. And keep in mind, we still have to do this part just a little bit. It probably won't take that long, hopefully. But afterwards, after we get done removing all the rust, we're going to hit it with some sandpaper and Scotch-Brite, just like we did for the anvil and the vise jaws, along with the WD-40. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over 180 degrees, turn this handle 180 degrees, and we'll get to work on the other side. Alright, y'all, so now we've pretty much got most of the rust removed from this side of the handle. As you can see, I took it outside on my uncle's porch here, so y'all could better see the results. But as you can see, we still have a lot of marks and all, and a lot of scuffs in it. But we're gonna leave them. We're gonna leave this side of the handle as it is, because as I mentioned before, we're trying to leave as much of the original metal as possible. Without really disturbing it all that well. Just removing the rust is really all I'm trying to do here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over in the vise. I'm going to grip it by this side now. And I'm going to remove all the rust from this side. As you can see, there's quite a bit of corrosion. I'm going to remove all that. And then I'm going to try and remove most of the rust and the pitting most of it that I can from this end right here. And after that, we will hit it, and also from right here as well. And after that, we will hit it with some Scotch-Brite and sandpaper with some WD-40 on it to come up with a pretty good finish. So now I'm going to go ahead and get to working on that surface right there. Alright, y'all, so now we've pretty much got most of the rust, or pretty much all of the rust, removed from the handle here. As you can see, it's looking pretty good so far. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the end here. As you can see, there is some pitting on the very end, and I'm going to work on that. And then I'm going to take some sandpaper to it, some Scotch-Brite, and get a pretty good machine grade finish out of it, or at least try to. So now I'm just going to go in and do that. Alright, y'all, so as y'all can see, we got pretty much most of the rust removed that we could from the component. We got the end kind of cleaned up, and then we got the sides a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit it with some sandpaper and Scotch-Brite, as I mentioned previously. So I'm going to go back in the shop, and we're going to go ahead and hit it with some sandpaper with some WD-40, and hit it with some Scotch-Brite, and then we'll pretty much be ready for the next part of the project. Alright, so as y'all can see, we are making pretty good progress with the sandpaper so far. Now that we got pretty much done with this, I'm going to start working on the handle here. And actually, I need 2 hands. I'm using a little strip of sandpaper, and I'm just going to kind of sand it, but I'm going to need 2 hands for that, so I'm going to go ahead and get to it. Alright y'all, so now I'm just using the Scotch-Brite just to touch up the finish a little bit. And you know, I'm gonna touch it up a little bit, and as you can see, the finish is so far looking pretty good. I'm very impressed with that finish. So now we're just gonna move this over and swap. We're gonna put this end in the jaw, and keep in mind when I'm clamping this down, I don't clamp it very tightly because I don't want to damage it. And once I swap the sides over, I'm going to do the Scotch-Brite treatment to this side and then to this surface right here. And then to this surface as well. So now I'm just going to swap them over and we'll finish up with this. Alright y'all, so now we pretty much got the handle pretty much finished. You know, we got almost all the rust removed. We got most of the rust removed that we could remove. And as you can see, the handle does look pretty good. And pretty much now all we have to do is just assemble the vise, and then once we assemble it, we'll pretty much be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put y'all on the vise real quick, and the 5-inch one over there, and I'll go ahead and start assembling this thing. So alright y'all, so now we're pretty much ready to assemble the vise. So I'm going to go ahead and put the screw in right here, and it just winds in. Really, that's all you got to do. There we go. There we go. So what y'all think, man? I just got done rebuilding this vise, and y'all got to see it with me, and pretty much I'm pretty much done with it now. I know one thing I got to do, which I'm not going to do right now, and that one thing is, let me show you. I'm going to do it later on, probably later on in the week though. But I know one thing I have to do is I have to make a washer to go right here, which will automatically pull this jaw back along with the screw. Like when you wind the screw out, it will pull the jaw with it. And I have to kind of file this groove out with the Dremel tool, and then put another washer in there. And so once I get the washer in there, I'm going to put some JB Weld in there and just put a small washer in there once it's in front of the jaw. So after that, it will be able to come out by itself, whereas right now you have to pull it out with your hand. But once I get that fixed, it'll I'll be able to use the screw to wind the jaw out. So that's pretty much it on this restoration. I hope y'all guys really enjoyed it, and I hope y'all got a kick out of it. It was a pretty good restoration. It didn't take but a day. I made a 2-part series out of it. And so, hope y'all guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch y'all on the next upload. Thank y'all for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It helps a lot.